Hello, everybody. I'm Mr. Homer, and I come from the United Kingdom.
And I'm Mr. Young, and I come from the USA.
And this is our assembly, English speaking countries.
Okay, students, so let's talk about the English language. Out of the 7.2 billion people on Earth, almost 2 billion people speak some level of English. That is one out of every four people. Most of those people are not native English speakers. So that means they are speakers of English as a second language. The language that has the most native speakers in the world is actually Chinese.
However, English is the world's most popular second language and by far the most studied foreign language. Can you say foreign?
Foreign.
Thank you. So foreign means a language that you don't speak, a language from overseas. When you count all the native and non-native speakers, English is the most widely spoken language in the whole wide world.
So, where did English come from? It's actually quite funny. English doesn't even come from England. It was brought to Britain by the Angles in the 5th to 7th centuries. Wow, so that's like 1,400 years ago. The Angles, a people from northern Germany, brought their language to Britain. Before that, Britain was under the Roman Empire and they spoke Latin. But the Angles showed up and they brought their language with them. This is where the words England and English come from the Angles. So let's take a quick look at the origins of the English language. So like I just mentioned in the previous slide, English comes from northern Germany. And so when they settled in what is now called Britain, back then it was under the Roman Empire. So the Romans used the Latin alphabet. That's why we write our ABCs the way we do, because the English language was absorbed the Latin alphabet. And over time, English borrowed many words from different languages around Europe, especially France. Did you know 30,000 English words actually come from the French? Very interesting. But later in history, in the last couple hundred years, the British Empire began to expand all around the world, and they brought the English language with them. The biggest place was North America. So Canada and the United States were settled by the English, and English language became dominant there. And as America and England began to spread around the world with their business and their empire, they brought the English language to places like India, Hong Kong, Australia, the Philippines, all around the world. English became a global language.
English speaking countries. So you can see there's many English speaking countries in the world, but today we're just going to focus on 5 of them. They are the United Kingdom, the United States of America, Australia, Canada, and New Zealand. And we're going to explore the English language in these countries. So we'll look at, it's the same language, but they might have different spelling, they might have different grammar, they might use different vocabulary, different words used to to name the same things, and different pronunciation as well. For example, I say tomato, you say
Tomato.
First up, the United Kingdom. I'm Mr. Homer, and this is where I come from. Some facts to begin with. So there are 4 countries in the United Kingdom: Wales, Scotland, England, and Northern Ireland. And they're each their own country, and they each have their own flag. And each of these flags make up the Union Jack, which is the flag of the United Kingdom. You can see on the map, the flag is red, blue, and white, and these are the colours of the nation's flags. For example, Scottish flag is blue, the English flag is red and white. Now, people from the United Kingdom, we are British, or Brits for short. Now let's look at the spelling. Now there's a British way of spelling things, which some people might say is the correct way, but it's each to their own, isn't it? So spelling, colour, we spell with a O-U-R. That's the same with flavour and neighbour. Centre and metre, we put the R in front of the E. Some other countries might do it differently, some other English-speaking countries. Pronunciation, we say zebra and tomato. Now, I know a lot of you might pronounce that differently, but this is how the British people say things. And both ways are correct. And we have our own special vocabulary. So we say crisps. And that's a lorry. And babies wear a nappy. Now, when we greet somebody in the UK, we might say, all right, or hiya, or something else. We might say, you okay, you all right, or hey up, mate. Now, where I come from, I usually say, hey up, or all right. And some special sayings from the United Kingdom is fancy a cuppa, which means, would you like a cup of tea? Because British people are famous for drinking tea. So when we see somebody, you might say, oh, fancy a cuppa? We say, Bob's your uncle. Means, there you go, Bob's your uncle. 1 + 1 is 2, Bob's your uncle. Or we might say, it's the bee's knees. That means it's the best. It's brilliant. It's the bee's knees.
Hello, this is Mr. Young, and I'm from the United States. So I will go over some of the right ways to speak English. So, as you know, the United States has 50 states, and they are on the flag. The stars in the flag for the USA represent each individual state. And the people of America are called Americans. So, let's take a quick look at some of the different spellings, or I should say the correct way to spell things. And the first one, we have color spelled as O-R, not O-U-R. So we say color, flavor, neighbor. So one of the big differences you hear between the USA and English and England is a hard R at the end of a word. So I say color, and Mr. Homer says color. Yeah, see, hear that? Color. Where's the R? I say color. All right, so besides that, we also have center and meter. So what they've done there is just reverse the ER. Why? I don't know. But let's move on to pronunciation. So I say zebra, and Mr. Homer says
Zebra.
I say tomato, he says
Tomato.
Oh, my favorite word, though, is aluminum. How do you say aluminum, Mr. Homer?
I say it the correct way, Mr. Young. I say aluminium.
Aluminium, strange. Anyway, okay, let's move on to vocabulary. So, Mr. Homer says crisps, and I say chips or potato chips. And in America, you drive a truck, and little babies get a diaper. So, we'll take a quick look at some common expressions said in the United States. So, when greeting someone, you say, hey, how's it going? Or what's up? Or yo, what's going on? How's it going? How are you doing? These are all good ways to greet your friends in an informal manner. And some other silly expressions are like scoot over. Scoot over just means to move. Get out of my way. Scoot over. Or if you're trying to sit down at a booth with someone and they're taking up the whole thing, you say, scoot over, make some room. Another one is get your ducks in a row. It's kind of a strange expression. How do you get your ducks in a row? Well, it just basically means get things in order. Get your ducks in a row means get organized, get your head on straight. And finally, a piece of cake. Now, this one means two things. One, you can literally have a piece of cake and eat it, or piece of cake means something very easy to do. These are all silly expressions from the United States.
Oh no, that's the end of part 1. See you again in part 2.